Hey everyone, how's it going? Back at you with another helpful little tips and tricks. How to save you some cash and keep some money in your pocket. If you're a little handy, you can do some things and you don't have to go out and buy stuff to improve your firearms, your pistols. Anyway, yeah, smallest vice in the world. Okay, I'm going to show you what we're going to do with this in a second. Before I'm going to put this aside. What we have here, okay, first of all, firearm is safe. Nothing in the chamber, nothing in the magazine. Okay. Back in there for now. And this is a build I was working on based on a P80 upper. For the most part, in general, without getting too deep into it. And a Palmetto State Armory dagger frame. I bought actually got the upper off of, I believe it was a gun broker auction. I think it was like $130 before shipping. But look, it sounds great, right? But by the time you get done with all the shipping and whatnot, I was into it for like $161 by the time it was all said and done. But anyway, I did extensive trigger work to this thing. I have it down to about a 4 3/4 pound trigger. Reworking pretty much all stock parts. I'll just show you really quick the inside parts to it. Standard fare in here. That black stuff you see in there is armorer's grease. I use an armorer's grease after I do everything, but polished the plunger, safety plunger, put a reduced power spring in it, polished the firing striker pin, right over here. It's got a standard spring in it right now. It's got a 5.5 pound striker spring in it, standard. It's got a regular 17-pound guide rod right now on a standard Glock style guide rod. I actually have a stainless steel guide rod coming in because, as you know, the Palmetto State Armory lowers do have in the front. They've got a reinforcement. I don't know if you can see it right there, but they have a reinforcement built into the frame, so they're supposed to be able to withstand it, since they do come standard with a metal guide rod. For all the people like, no, don't use metal guide rods in your Glock, you're going to break them. Well, that might be true for Glock or Smith & Wessons. That's why in my SD40 VEs, I run the polymer guide rods, because they don't have the reinforcements in it. And so that's it. They work all right. It's just a personal preference, and the guide rods do give it a little extra heft and a little more rigidity. But anyway, whatever. Opinions are like navels. Everyone's got one. For the internals for this one right here, I did use I took out the stock internals. They're adequate, but barely. They're limited what you can do with them. I used a P80 trigger bar, P80 flat face trigger. Let me bring that forward. This is a Glock OEM slide stop lever. Not magazine release. Slide stop lever is your magazine release. This is actually, I'll get to that in a second. Cruciform was just polished on the friction surfaces, not on the sear surface. Left that alone, polished up to it. Polished the shark fin right here. Made sure it had a nice smooth surface when it rode over the plunger to get rid of the humpiness. And that being polished with the lighter power spring, reduced power plunger spring, with the combination of basically lightly deburring and then polishing this area, both sides of the shark fin. This point where when you're drawing back and you're actually pulling the trigger, and you're pulling the trigger back, and it drops back, and this will actually ride over and depress the safety plunger, letting your firing pin go forward. But you can see how I've got this when I just barely touch the safety dingus. You watch the trigger mechanism. Just touch it. and it just drops out. There is no friction at all, or very minimal, on all the bearing surfaces. So I can set it, and all that's holding right now from rearward motion is the trigger safety bar or dingus, whatever you want to say, up against the frame. I actually, when I had this all apart, I deburred inside this area slightly, taking any burrs out and around the trigger area, and deburred the trigger where it could possibly rub or have any chance of rubbing. So deburr the frame, deburr around the trigger. That helps a lot. Other thing, the connector it's a Ghost standard 3.5, and that just helps you with basically the angle in which the cruciform is going to drop forward, and that's going to help you with the weight of your trigger pull, the perceived weight, and you can see how nice that just drops out. I just barely touch the trigger safety, and just watch that drop out. You can see how quickly I just barely put any finger pressure on it. I just touch it. Just touch it. Let me see if I do it like this so you can just touch that. I'm not pushing that back. It might look like I'm pushing it, but I just touch it. And that just drops back. And that's got a really nice... Oh, also, the trigger spring that attaches to underneath of the cruciform is a standard. It's a standard Glock OEM. Whatever comes in stock, I don't know if it's a 5 pound or a 5.5 pound. It's not increased power, it's not reduced power. You need that because when you have your strikers pushing this way and that's pulling that way, you have two forces working against each other. You got to find the right balance so you have proper trigger, not only reset, but safety engagement. Otherwise, your trigger won't ride forward enough. It won't pull forward enough for this trigger safety to actually engage, so that's something you have to be very careful of. Other thing is, I actually took an OEM, if you can see this, I took an OEM magazine release button and I reprofiled it to have some traction, because as you can see, I have a naked frame over here I can show you. There's another frame I have. This is your factory button, the way it comes from PSA Armory. It's got absolutely no texture on it. I mean, does it work? Yeah, sure. But it's a little slippery. You don't have a lot of traction on it. It's just there. Will it work? Yeah. But you don't feel, when you're engaging it, you just don't feel that bite on your finger. You know, that little extra traction. So, that being said, I actually took this out and I cut grooves into it. You can see the lateral grooves on it. See that? Then slowly clean them out, go real slow, and I'm going to show you how I did it. I took the smallest vise in the world, and then I took a standard PSA Armory magazine release, Dagger magazine release. You could do this with anyone. And you could take it and just, let me see if I can do this here. Vice are up. Come on, go down, go down, go down, go down. Alright, I have to go to the edge of it. Okay. Right? I actually did this before without the vise. And then, alright, now here you go. There's an age reveal, right? Ginsu knife. So you can do stuff like this with your standard. Ooh, look, that's like a samurai sword. Shiny. Okay. See the serrations on that sucker? Hyundai! Sticky, sticky, sticky! Anyway, you can take it slowly. I take my finger as a guide. You can place the knife right on there, and then you can slowly start working back and forth. You can actually, I just use a quick reciprocating motion like this at first just to get it toothed in. You gotta make sure it doesn't get loose on you also. But anyway, just wanted to give you the idea. I'm not going to sit here and do the whole thing. Just do that, and then once you get it down, you can take a pick or whatever, clean out the grooves. Then you could take afterwards a little piece of like, I don't know, 600 grit sandpaper. Not emery cloth. That's too brutal. This is, I don't know, you could say like 200 wet dry. 400 wet dry, whatever, and you just take it and you fold it like that. Then you get it in between the grooves, and you work it in between the grooves so you get them shaped the way you want. And then you eventually end up with this. Don't do it in the frame. You'll cut your frame unless you're super skilled. But anyway, that's the idea. You advise it, hold it by hand. So maybe get one going a little bit here for you. Yes, I did this. Gotta go really easy. People are like, oh, why are you bothering? Just go out and buy one. Yeah, why buy one? People are too quick to go out and buy stuff. Put that finger in. There was my guide. I don't have enough light here. Okay, we got a bite. The hardest part is getting a good bite started. Once you get a little groove going, in there, you can check it, pull it out and check it. Once you get a tooth going, you can just make it as deep as you want. You don't want to go too deep. You don't want to make them look fragile, you know? But you get the drift, right? I don't know how that's showing up. Focusing. You get the idea. I got a groove started right there. Anyway, then you just move over, do another one right beside it, and then you have like a 3-slot groove, and this is what you end up with. And it gives you a real nice traction. You can really feel that bite into your thumb. Anyway, as long as I got this thing out, all that trigger work that I did to this, and I was basically OEM parts with the exception of, I mean, it's an OEM P80 bar, OEM P80 trigger. I think, all right, ready? Here's a plug. K&M Tactical. Get ready for your business to go up. The place is fantastic. I think I paid like $10 for the Glock extended slide release, which is really nice. A lot of people just want like 16 before shipping. I think I paid $10 for this trigger bar. You got to put the sweat equity in it to get it to tune the way I did. Another $10 for the 3.5 pound ghost connector, and that's all the money that's into this. The rest is stock springs and whatnot, except for I had a little bag of the reduced power springs for the safety plunger, and then I just did the polishing and put it all together. But literally, like 30, maybe $35 just to replace the parts that I wanted to replace on this. Could you do it with the stock parts? Yeah, but you're going to be able to smooth it out and get the grit, but you're not going to get the lightness. The design just isn't there with the parts. Yeah, they're just not high quality enough, and I'm just going to say it. So anyway, proof's in the pudding, right? See, what do we have here? Okay, ready? I'm going to do it like this. I'll do it left-handed. I'll do it with my other hand. Ready? There you go. Ready? Take up. No grit. And break. Do that again. There's your take up. And then there's your wall. Ready? Now we'll do the reset. There's your reset. Then there's your break. Reset. Break. You don't even feel. There's your take up. But then once you do your take up, there's no grit, there's no hump. Completely smooth. You're at the wall. And then you break. Reset, break. Reset, break. All the way out. Back to slide again. That wasn't a malfunction. I just did that just to give it a full reset. Force a habit. See that? That's it. It's a smooth take up. You're at the wall now. Break. Now, how about trigger weight? Let's give it a trigger weight. Trigger weight pull. Trigger weight pull. Okay. We're zeroed, okay, with the wheeler gauge. Oops, I messed that up. What do we got there? Like 3 3/4 pounds. 3 3/4 pounds on that one. Try it again. Reset it to 0. Rack it. Yeah. It's the same. It's consistent. I like to finish off all my mating surfaces afterwards, after I do my fitting, with a lead-based Armorer's grease. It's called Armorer's Choice. I highly suggest it. It's lead-based, and it will actually bond on a molecular level with the materials, the metals, and it'll create a nice lubricating surface. Yeah, there you go. Best of 3. Consistency. 3 3/4 pounds right now, and that's before I actually ordered some 5-pound striker springs. This has got a 5.5-pound stock striker spring in it right now. That's coming. That will bring me down around 3 pounds, 3 1/4 pounds probably. It's like I have another one over here. Clear. There's another one I've been working on because I had a horrible time figuring out what was going to work with this particular one, and every pistol's different. Okay, hold on, let me try that. Help if I charged it right. The hell? I'm having a brain fart, guys. Sorry. £4, and that is a smooth, beautiful, crisp £4. Try it one more time. Now this is a Glock 23 upper. Yes, 40 caliber. And yes, I did set up the lower with a 40 caliber ejector. Okay. £4 are just a microcosm above, but it's consistent at £4. Take my word for it. Now, I'm going to show you one more example. I have another lower built for this upper, or for whatever upper I have, a full-size Dagger upper. Now, granted, I build these all the same way, but results are going to vary. See? That's almost 3.5. One more time. 0. I use the same method basically on all of them. Deburr the frames, deburr the parts, don't go crazy, don't spend a lot of money, it's time, but there you go. So anybody that says you can't take lower cost components that are of high quality, but you're not buying these super duper, you know, I don't know what you want to call them, in vogue parts, well, they're just lazy, or they're full of shit and they're just trying to sell you something. One more for good measure. Best of 3, right? You don't have to spend a lot to get a lot. There you go. That one's pushing the £3 mark. In closing, I figured I'd show you the trigger pulls and how I got to that point with those pistols, but I really wanted to show you the latest build, and I wanted to show you the improvement modification that I made to that magazine release button. Listen, once again, guys, I really appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. As always, please thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification button so you can get more informative videos like this. And if you have any questions, by all means, please leave them in the comment section. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And thank you for watching again. Bye-bye.